Okay, we're on. Here's the star of our show. This is Vicky. Vicky and my foot. She's always at my feet. So I figured I'd do a real quick video. All my videos tend to be like 5 hours while I'm talking and stuff. Can you imagine me talking for like 4 or 5 hours? Oh, I haven't uploaded these recordings. I don't know how to. Oh, there's computer stuff. I don't even have a computer. This is my mobile device. It works fine. I've been uploading YouTube videos. Okay, so let's stay on track here. I figured I make a short video, like maybe a 3-minute or a 4-minute, or yeah, like I'm thinking 3 minutes, just to introduce myself and speak on my intentions. So the channel's Callie Kine. That name came to me decades ago now. It's gotta be. Well, it's when I opened up my AOL account, so I would say 20 plus years. I don't know how many times people were like, it looks like Callie King, but you spell it wrong. The weirdest thing is I was on this live stream and a guy saw the name and he was like, "Hey, what's up, Callie Kine?" I'm like, how's this dude know how to say it? It's purposely supposed to be difficult to pronounce. It's like one of them French words like Ghislaine or something. I still haven't got the proper pronunciation of that. Everyone's screwing that name up. And that Giffrey name, Guifrey. Anyways, Parisians kind of rebelized into their own language. It's Latin. Okay, we're already approaching 3 minutes and I haven't even started talking really. I don't know. I can't help it. Every time I think about the French, I think about the Reign of Terror, and then I looked it up and I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like real life history. I think American history is, since French history doesn't have too much value in American history. I mean, it has a lot of value. I mean, Statue of Liberty, and I think they helped us out during the Revolutionary War and stuff. But they ruled the world actually at one time. I learned this from a book called The Sugar Blues. I'd have to you just look up Sugar Blues. I can't remember it would take me more than a minute just to remember this dude's name. I read a lot of books. Anyways, this book happened upon me and I read it. It's called The Sugar Blues. It's well worth reading. It's highly recommended. It's one of those pocket books. I could recommend a lot of books, actually. Actually, I have a lot of books that I don't need. But they were very useful. I really should pass them along. There is some great wisdom in passing things along. This is something I'm learning, or suffering, you might say. It's, I mean, I'm broke as a joke, but I am living abundantly. And you know how you do that is you just don't have any needs. You know, it's like you got everything you need. You don't need any more material, but there's an extreme to that. It's like hoarding. So I guess they're kind of on the same spectrum. I mean, it's like you can be poor and have nothing, but you can have so much and still be poor. Oh, I hope that makes sense. So, yeah, I got a lot of stuff. I'd like to get some creative ways to I don't know, re-gift, or there's a word for it. I'm no feng shui expert. Here we go, approaching 6 minutes. So maybe we'll just make it 7. We'll make it quick. Let's see if we can do this. I'm real new to this, so but I think it's important because I got all of these things I want to share. Usually after a little bit of weed. I smoked a little weed probably like a half hour or something ago, but I was selfish. I just let my thoughts go and just indulged in myself, because I don't need to be recording all this stuff. I'm all up in my head, and I'm really good company. Today I saw something. Oh man, yeah, it's not going to be 7 minutes. Maybe I'll try for 10 minutes. I was just saying something. I saw something today, and man, it's like I wish I could just rewind it and see what I was saying. If someone had feedback, they could help me. If you timestamp it and put the question, or maybe I'll go back and watch it, because I'm the only one watching this stuff really. And so I'll go back, I'll watch it and be like, oh, that's what it is. I'll timestamp it and I'll put a comment that says what I was talking about. So I mean, you can comment and ask and I can respond. So anyways, I'm trying to figure out this. The whole idea is I want some sort of social interaction. So I mean, Vicky is nice. I'd like to say I'm kind of exiled and kind of isolated, and all the work I've done in my life has prepared me for where I'm at right now, and what I'm thinking and what I'm doing and how I'm living, how I'm breathing, what information I'm attracting, because for the last, I don't know, more than a decade, I've been, I can't explain it, but I'm kind of in a birthing process. I'm kind of like, I'm becoming, I wish it would already have happened, but it's still happening. I can feel it. I'm doing a lot of myofascial release, myofascial release. I do very relaxed breathing. I do some breathing exercises, but I don't do heavy. Okay, so the whole idea right now is, for the last decade or so, more than a decade, I've been going through a self-care, self-healing, self-navigated I don't want to use the word ascension. I mean, it maybe it used to be ascension, but now it's not ascension. It's more like connection. It's more like, realizing the source of all things. Yeah, it's evolved. I mean, I never would have got here without, Jesus. I think if you tap into Jesus early on, not what other people's talking about, because yeah, other people can guide you and point you the way, but you really got to experience it for yourself. You got to read the words yourself and let the image of Christ build in your mind. That's all you want, is an image of Christ in your head. What would the Christ do? What is the Christ? And to me, the Christ is all of us. It's everything. It's all things. The Christ is what everyone is seeking, right? Everyone, once you get to a certain elevated state, oh, here I go talking, I'm approaching 11. You get to an elevated state, and then priorities shift. And then next thing you know, it's like everything you learn, you bounced back and forth on the spectrum. You went, because we're all centered beings at our core. We have a center, right? But not everything around that is aligned to that center. And anything that out of alignment, there's going to be pain and suffering. So the whole idea is to get to an alignment with nature. And that's our connection to God. So we align with nature. God is nature, if everything is God. So we align with nature. But then God created us in his infinite image, so that means we're infinite expressions of that. And so, but not everyone is doing their job, and you know this because you can feel it in your body. It don't feel right, and it makes you go lower into the frequencies. I learned a lot from the Sedona Method. I mean, the Sedona Method out of Sedona, Arizona, Yeoh. I got a shout out to him because all his materials, everything I learned through that modality, I just picked up through my own efforts. I never took a class. I never purchased any materials. I just took materials that were freely available. And you don't just stick with him. As soon as someone tells you a secret, you're questioning, like, where did he get that secret? But to Yeoh, it's not a secret. He got it from Lester Levinson, and so did a lot of people. Actually, a new guy popped up into my feed, and he was talking about Lester Levinson and his release it technology. So his that's what people do. I mean, Gary Craig did it with TFT, thought field therapy, and he took it, simplified it, kind of made his better recipe, and then he started selling that. So he made DVDs. That would be emotional freedom techniques. I'm sure you know about tapping. It kind of penetrated somewhat this collective subconscious. I mean, I purposely go around, looking for opportunities to be like, hey, you heard about tapping? And sometimes, and a lot of times, people are like, yeah, I heard about that. I know a therapist that's using that or something like that. I'm like, oh, cool, right on. Because I use EFT practically, I want to say, well, whenever I need it, but I use it frequently. I want to say every day, but I don't pull that out of the toolkit as often as maybe Reiki or color therapy or Ho'oponopono. Sedona Method, man, I use that all the time. I kind of interchange the Sedona Method with Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono, it's a Huna tradition, and oh man, it's beautifully illustrated and taught through Joe Vitale's materials and Zero Limits. He popularized Dr. E. Hocula Hugh Lin, and his work. It was weird because it's like every one of these internet gurus or American spiritual teachers, they kind of dug into the East and found a guru or like a Roshi or something, and they collaborated and put together a workshop. So Ho'oponopono, I learned pretty much for free. I think I got a hold of a recording and I listened to that. It was like an audio book. I know I didn't buy it. So, but I bought a lot of stuff from Joe Vitale. I mean, I got a whole bunch of. He is a viral marketer, or I mean, he could sell you anything he's selling because everything he's got is useful, I mean, he started out with spiritual marketing long before anyone was talking about spiritual marketing. He wrote the book. He basically took what people were doing and not calling it spiritual marketing, but he took the esoteric or the metaphysical. He's a doctor of metaphysics. So he's Dr. Joe Vitale, like MSc. I'm like, what the hell is MSc? So I looked it up, and he's a doctor of metaphysics, whatever that is. But he's an outstanding man. I'm so glad I'm having this conversation. I'm just going to talk. I'm trying to put a limit on myself, and it's not happening. Maybe I could... get some editing done, or man, I want to hide these recordings in a secret little vault somewhere. And I want to do shorter videos that are like less than 5 minutes, and that maybe get more specific about these different things. And Hale Dwoskin, he led me to Lester Levinson. That's how it's done. Napoleon Hill kind of shot up on the scene to me through Human Potential. This was probably in 2000 or something, 1999, somewhere back then. Maybe even earlier, but I never read it. I probably didn't start getting into that material until the late 2000s, probably around 2007, 2008. I had already been learning energy medicine before that, around 2006, I think. I learned about the Sedona Method. I mean, the movie The Secret. I don't know if you saw The Secret, but there was... They had to be... Well, there was a lot of discussion about... I guess... There was a lot of discussion about a lot of things, but it did cover a lot of healing stuff. It did cover meditation. I actually saw The Secret many times. I saw the movie many times. And I listened to the audiobook countless times, and the audiobook is hours. So I was fortunate to have an MP3 player, and I could listen to all of these different materials. Oh man, so many materials. You really got to mix it up with music, though. I listened to a lot of good music, too, during those years. You have to, use both hemispheres. you learn how to do that by stimulating both hemispheres and to reach some sort of collaboration and reconciliation of information so that you can create these connections between these two hemispheres. I mean, there's a lot going on there. I mean, everyone knows the left brain is more rhythmic and, like feeling and stuff, emotion or abstraction. Is that the left brain? No, that's the right brain. The right brain is more, I like to say music. And the left brain, which controls the right part of the body, is more logic. It's more Spock. So, and Spock is really great, because I mean, he's so likable because he's completely emotionless. Emotion has nothing to do with him. And so he's pretty much super right or super left brain. Um, and then, of course, I guess that's kind of like the ideal of the I guess masculine dominated I guess system, or perceived system, because it's not the truth. There's a balance and a fallacy. Men, yeah, they control the world, to a degree, but they're always susceptible to to a high degree, the feminine influence. Actually, men use women to control other men. I mean, that's pretty much what's going on at Epstein Island. If anyone's up on the kind of the independent or alternate media scene, which is a trap. If you can, it's good to be informed, but it's not good to be inundated. That's something you'll hear on The Secret. And there is a conspiracy to round up conspiracy theorists and isolate them. Yeah, sounds very paradoxical and kind of scary, actually, but that's when you gotta breathe. Okay, that's when you gotta put on the music. That's when you have to balance and ground yourself, because man, you can get way off the ground with these conspiracy theories. And it's just how do you say, it's provocative, it's provoking, it actually I don't know, I don't even know if I don't even want to talk about this. Anyways, it's not so much the conspiracy theorists. Conspiracy theorists it's not what the conspiracy is about. This conspiracy is about the big aliens coming to see, I don't want to talk about this. And they're not big aliens, but they might as well be. I don't know if you've seen all 50 hours of the cinematic Marvel universe. But, I mean, I could dissect each one of those movies, and that shit is happening right now. I mean, all that Iron Man stuff, it's happening. No, there's no guy running around in an Iron Man suit. That's not happening. No one wants, I don't care how thick that armor is. No one wants to be up in there. I mean, the kids and stuff, and yeah, I would love to have an Iron Man suit. But that's really, uh, I guess it's more, you don't need an Iron Man suit. I mean, they call it being tactical, they talk about it being, special ops and all those things. You don't need an Iron Man suit. You got flak jackets and stuff. Um, all kinds of equipment and weaponry. I mean, you don't need a $2 billion suit, which is pretty much what that is. For $2 billion, you can probably get part of an F-35 or something. And it will carry a much bigger payload. And yeah. I don't. How did I get into this direction? I was talking about healing and energy work, really, kind of introducing my passion. So, like I said earlier, you want to be informed, but you don't want to be inundated, because when you get inundated, you're just really detracting from your healing energy abilities and your ability to be an effective and beneficial presence on the planet. So, so when the conspiracy hits the fan, you can actually do some good, which is like help people, you know. Whereas if you're a conspiracy theorist and you're on the scene, you probably create more havoc and chaos and ultimately allow your enemies the advantage. So you're always putting yourself, by outing yourself and putting yourself, because as soon as you put yourself in that position, there's like an imaginary cage all around you. It's kind of like Curly in photography. People can feel it. They can see it on it. They can smell it, you know? And you know you got it because now you don't want to go nowhere. And I know this from my own experience. Because, I navigate my own emotional tone, It changes, Then I don't always wake up in the morning on the right side of the bed. You hear all this. I got all the emotional potential of each and every one of my brothers and sisters on this planet. All brothers in Christ. And everyone doesn't know it. So, but you'll find what other people think doesn't necessarily apply to you, but you don't necessarily have to tell them that, and create a situation. So why am I telling all this stuff? Anyways, I think the introduction is basically my upbringing and how I grew up and my experience. I think about my life and I'm like, ooh, it could have been a whole lot worse. I mean, my thoughts are kind of octagonal or something, because I can see this thought over here growing and then this one over. It's like 8 different things brewing, right? And then I can see like 3 of those things that need to be said. So I want to be like bing, 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 but then you got to kind of use language to fuse those together before you even forget, because you can easily shift to another idea and allow that to grow. And so I'm kind of juggling with healing, energy work, the state of the world, how I want to use analogies through the cinematic universe of Marvel, whose parent company is none other than and I don't want to repeat a lot of stuff that you probably already know. I just want to give you and I also don't want to be boxed into outing myself. If I'm gonna out myself, I'm outing myself as a beneficial presence on this planet. I would say the Red Cross, but I'm not the Red Cross. I'm I'm what I call a breather. And I think the breathers on the planet are always going to be beneficial presences everywhere they go. Because more oxygen to the brain, you kind of raise that emotional tone and you become effective, Courage, according to the Sedona methodologies and teachings, they kind of like have an emotional scale. And right smack dab in the middle is courage, And you can be 50% courage in the right way, which is creation, or preservation, or connection, or it could be courage in the wrong way, which is dislocation, a lot of dislocation going on there, disconnection, deconstruction, destruction. Oh, did I say destruction, deconstruction? Yeah, there's two different words, two big ones. Or anything with a dis on it, disassemble. And we all have these capabilities, I mean, what do you do with the trash? You dispose of the trash. So if you love somebody, it would be not good to put them in the disposer. That could be real messy. Anyways, at least, holy moly, I've been talking this long. I'm gonna cut it short. We'll do this 3333 number and get this uploaded, and I'm just documenting a day in the life, probably not very professionally, but really, I'm doing it really. So, peace out.